To draft our pattern, this is the measurement we'll be using. If you look at on the screen, for those that may be asking for what is it in inches and in centimeters and whatever, so like I said, we'll be using centimeters to draft this pattern. But then I've gone ahead to take the measurement in inches and I've converted them to centimeters. And then we need the half measurement on some of them. We need the quarter on some of them as well. So now to convert from inches to centimeter, multiply whatever you have on your measurement by 2.54. So for example, you have 15 inches. Maybe you took your measurement, shoulder to under bust 15 inches. You just say 15 times 2.54. It will give you the equivalent in centimeters, which in this case is 38 centimeters. Okay. And then to convert your centimeters to inches, you go ahead and divide by 2.54. We got 38 centimeters when we multiply 15 by 2.54. Now let's divide it. That's 38 now, divide 2.54. It takes us back to our 15. So to convert cm to inches, divide by 2.54. To convert inches back to centimeters, multiply by 2.54. That you'll be fine with that. Okay. So now, like I said, on some of the measurement, we would be needing the half and the quarter in addition to the full. There's a measurement that I didn't measure. That's the round under bust. Basically, you measure your round under bust. This is, for example, this is where your bra sits. Your round under bust is exactly on that point. You just take it, not too tight, but it will snug nicely on your body, and make sure that you can breathe. It's important to breathe. Okay, make sure you can breathe. So that's your round under bust. We didn't take that measurement earlier. So now this is the measurement we're going to be using to draft our pattern. Okay, the bust measurement, see it in inches, that is in centimeters. And then for drafting the pattern, because if you are drafting the front of the pattern of your bodice, if you're drafting the front pattern of your bodice, you'll only be drafting half of the front, which is a quarter of the whole measurement. But then again, you need to understand this. We're not doing bust divide by 4 here. We are not. And you get to understand that when we start drafting the pattern. That is the essence of taking the chest width. All right? Because at the end of the day, is the chest width that would use to determine our dart position, not bust divide by 4. Also, when we draft the pattern, we get to the front, you will see that in this kind of Natalie Bray pattern, a lot more is given to the front than on the back, because we are fuller at the front than at the back. If we just do bust divide by 4 and you use that to draft your pattern, you realize that your clothes will be tight on the chest. So when we draft the pattern and we get to the point of doing the front, I will show you the difference, because the front is always more than the back. All right. So as I was saying, this is the full in centimeters, divided back into by 2, and then divided by 4, because we'll be using all this to draft our pattern. Then the chest width as well, we have 16 in inches, 41 when it was converted to centimeters. This is the half chest width and the quarter chest width. On back length to waist, because it's a vertical line, right? Vertical line, we don't have to divide that by anything. All we need is the full measurement. So we took our vertical line measurement, and that is it. That's why it's not divided into half or quarter. Then we have the waist. The waist measurement, yes, because see, our waist is a circumference. Look at it. Those circumference measurements are divided further, right? Or those that some of them are circumference. The chest width is not a circumference measurement, but some measurements are divided further, especially the horizontal now are divided further in most cases. So the waist, we have 94, 47, 23. Then the back width, we have 17 in inches, 43 in centimeters. Half of it is 21, half of the 43 centimeters is 21.5. But now getting on to the quarter, because if you are looking at centimeters, you can't find, it's not easy to identify 10.75. So when we have 0.25 cm, we approximate it higher. So we have 10.75 here. So instead we'll be using 11. It's too tiny. It won't make any huge difference on your pattern. And that's to explain to you. You see, our back width, our chest width is giving us 10.5 to draft our dart. at the front. I will explain this further to you. But it's going to 10.5 to drop our dart at the front. And then at the back, our back width is telling us that our dart position starts from 11 centimeters. You see, it's not always 4. Like if you convert this to inches, they're not the same thing. You can manage them to be the same thing, right? Because this is almost like a small person, but in cases whereby you're having people with fuller breasts and everything, you would see a huge more difference here. Because the fuller your chest, or the wider you are, the wider you are, the wider your chest width. So if you're using 4x4, that's what we call nipple to nipple, 4 or whatever, for somebody that has a wider chest. Like you see sometimes, that's why you see sometimes, is that the dart is staying here or staying here, whereas your dart needs to be on your nipple point. Your dart needs to go to your nipple point. So you see some princesses that going like this, because you're using 4 for somebody that you could have used maybe 4.5 or 5 for, or sometimes in some cases I've seen 5.75. But anyway, let's move on. So now your shoulder measurement as well, we have it because I told you we only take one part of the shoulder, and this is 5.5, which is 14 centimeters, and then we don't need to divide that further. Your shoulder to under bust measurement too, we have 14.5, 37, and we don't need to divide that even further. Then you have your round under bust, which is the measurement I showed you now. So we have 36. That's the one you take around and hold. We have 36. We have 91.5 in centimeters, but because, like I said, we cannot divide centimeter into smaller fractions. It will not, to identify it, it's going to be very, very difficult. So almost impossible. So this, instead of using 91 here, I round it up to 92 so that it can aid our division even further. So for the round under bust, we have 92, 46, and 23. Our blouse length, 23.5, 60 centimeters. So these are the measurements we'll be using now. We will start with the back measurement. So I'm starting with the back measurement. These are the measurements we will need to start with we're starting with the back pattern. These are the measurements we need for the back pattern. We need the back length to waist for the back pattern. We will need the back width for the back pattern, and we will need the blouse length. We will need these other ones too, but these are the most important we'll be needing now to start with for our back pattern. And as we start drafting, I will explain this to you, but put this at the back of your mind. We need back length to waist 14 centimeters, which is like 37 inches. 14.5 inches, which is 37 centimeters. And then we have back width, which is 17 inches, 43 centimeters. And then we have the length of the blouse, which is basically our length to hip. Basically, the length of the blouse is 23, but I will extend this now. Let's say length to hip measurement. Okay, so our hip measurement, this is the length of the blouse. If you're doing the length of the blouse, I want to take this pattern, I want to take the pattern to the hip. So like I said, our hip measurement, when we did the hip there at that time, when I was showing you measurement, that the distance between the waist and the hip could be 8.5, could be 9. In this case, I'll be using 9 centimeters. So length to hip, waist to hip, sorry. So the waist to hip here now, waist to hip, that's measurement, is 9 inches. And 9 inches times 2.54 will give us what it is in centimeters. 9 times 2.54. That's 9 times 2.54. That's 23 centimeters. Okay, so we have 23. That's because it's approximately 22.86. So this is 23 centimeters. Okay, so now the total length of our pattern for the back pattern would be back length to waist plus that. So 14.5 plus 9 is what? 23.5, which is still the same thing, 23.5. So our blouse length is going to be 23.5. All right, so we'll draft our pattern now. Thank you.